De Communistische partij in China wil niet dat u dit boek gaat lezen. Roulette van de Chinese zakenman Desmond Shum vertelt het verhaal van hem en zijn vrouw Whitney over rijkdom, macht, corruptie en haat op het allerhoogste niveau binnen de Communistische partij. Shum en zijn vrouw verdienen miljoenen door beleggingen en de aanleg van bijvoorbeeld een vliegveld bij Beijing. En cruciaal daarbij is hun vriendschap met de vrouw van de toenmalige premier Wen Jiabao. Maar 5 jaar geleden dan gaat alles mis. Shum is inmiddels gescheiden en plotseling wordt zijn ex-vrouw opgepakt en verdwijnt spoorloos. Na jarenlange radiostilte besluit Shum vanuit Londen dit boek te schrijven, Roulette, over de machinaties en de corruptie van de partij-elite. En hij is hier. Desmond Shum, thank you very much for coming from Oxford in the UK to Buitenhof this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the book, but first of all, why did your wife suddenly disappear in 2017, your ex-wife at the time?
That has never been an explanation from the government. Actually, the government never even acknowledged they have taken her. So usually in a situation like that, you know, in a situation we were in, it's usually about politics. It's usually about power politics at the highest level in China.
It sounds like the story of Icarus. You flew to the sun and maybe...
Yes, many have said that.
Yes. She was very powerful, your wife. So we don't know what she did to fall out of grace with the Communist Party. But first of all, when you published the book, suddenly contact was re-established, right?
Right.
What happened?
The book was supposed to come out on Tuesday, and the Friday before, New York Times and Financial Times and Wall Street Journal both published story of my upcoming book. And then on that weekend, she actually reached out. All of a sudden, after 4 years of absence, she reached out and then asked me to call her.
And then?
And then I call her and I asked, it's a great surprise to every one of us. I mean, I was hoping the book will do something to help her, but I didn't expect to be, that dramatic. All these things happen within 2 days of the news of the book is coming out.
You both have a son,
yes.
12 years old. What did she say to you about the book? That was...
She wanted me to stop publishing the book. I think the whole purpose of the call was ask me to withdraw the book from publishing.
So your guess is the Communist Party told her, okay, call him, you get the right to call him, tell him to stop publishing the book.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the 4 years she had been disappeared by the state, nobody has heard from her. Not just me. I mean, her parents, nobody from the whole damn world have heard from her.
She vanished.
She vanished.
Yeah. Your book is a fascinating story about a place where outsiders can go, and you have been there. You have seen how the Communist Party, the elite, the red aristocrats, as you call them, how they function and operate. Can you tell your story? Because as a young man, you come to China, you meet your wife, Whitney, and the two of you are very successful in business. How come? What was the golden key here?
I think the golden key in China to do any business is you have to associate yourself with power, political power, and I mean. And in our case, we happen to be able to make partnership with the wife of the premier, Wen Jiabao. And that, that association of power gave us the basically license to operate on a bigger scale.
How did you befriend her?
It was my ex-wife. I mean, she met her in a social occasion, and then over time they become friends.
And you call her auntie. She's like a member of your family.
Yeah. You call in these terms sort of endearing terms.
Because of the relationship with her, you get access to companies, business deals, and you suddenly find yourself in a world with diamonds, money, private jets. At one time you fly to Paris. What is the story there? What happened?
I think it's in that particular trip. It was a wine trip. We were thinking about doing a wine club, and so it was a bunch of we have Evergrande's chairman in the biggest real estate company in China.
That is now in default. The big story of China.
Right.
So, you knew him personally.
Right. Yeah. And then the son-in-law of the Politburo member. So it's a group of us who went together to Burgundy and Champagne and Bordeaux.
How many private jets did you rent? Because you organized this trip.
Well, no, I mean, it's we happen, different people have different jets, and then end up we have 3 jets going together.
Yeah, one was empty.
2 were empty. Everybody wanted to crowd into one and to play cards.
So why did you use the other 2?
Well, in case somebody want to go back early, I guess.
Yeah. So money was not an issue.
I think that was not just us. I mean, those are one of the reasons I want to write a book is I feel like our rise mirrored the rise of China of that 20 years. And I want to tell the world how that happened at the highest level. So money for a long time wasn't an issue for many people. If you have assets, the price keep rising. But
you yourself, you spend money like as if it is water because you are gambling, playing cards on board of the jet. And you lose at the first leg of the trip $100,000.
Well, I'm not a gambler actually. I only pay the cards because they want to play. So yeah. But for us at that time, that's not a lot of money.
No. Did you realize at the time that we would call this corruption because you're playing cards with the party chiefs, the people...
Oh, they're not party chiefs.
But yes. The people who are connected to the Communist Party. Would you call it corruption, the way you did business?
I would probably, in a Western world, and in most of the world, you would probably call that. But in China's situation, that's the system is run. It's sort of, you have to... It's a 2 parts to it. One is always there is corruption there. The other part of it is like paying respect. You need to pay your respect to the senior officials, the seniors, the people who have the power. Otherwise they say, well, why don't you pay me your respect?
You have a name for that, right? How do you call it? Wangzi or?
Oh, guanxi. Guanxi means relationship. Networking of a relationship.
Yeah. You also write about the current president of the Communist Party, Xi Jinping. Yeah. And you basically write in this book, he wasn't a very smart man as a student.
That's not actually not I didn't make the comment. It was actually the secretary of Mao Zedong make the comment because he was responsible. He had passed away a few years ago. But at the time, like 20 years ago, he was responsible for selecting future leaders. And Xi Jinping being one of the offspring of a senior leader of the Communist Party, so he has a judgment on him very early on. He called him, I didn't know you are not well educated.
How would you characterize him?
I would tend to agree, I think. I think the situation in China is very interesting. I was saying that it's almost the most toxic cocktail you can have in a leadership. Is a very ambitious man, a very ruthless man, a person who is very good at politics in China's sense, but at the same time, not that international, maybe according to many people, not that smart, but has a vision for the society as a dictator. You put that together, it's actually for society, that is almost the most toxic cocktail you can have.
Do you think that leaders in the Western world, here in Europe, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, are they aware of the fact, what you are describing in the President Xi Jinping, that he is toxic?
No. I think one of the reasons I wrote the book is I feel people in the world know too little about China. That is, I don't think ever has been a person like me who have been through personal relationship with those people, had done the business at that level, and deal with the political leaders in China to come out and tell how things actually happen. It never has happened before.
You say it's like a mafia organization, the Communist Party, the elite, and you are the first to break the omerta.
Yeah.
Is that a dangerous thing to do? Is this book, does it put you in risk?
Yeah, obviously it's a dangerous thing to do. That's why nobody has actually ever done it.
What is the response of the official response of the party on this publication of your book?
Well, the official response, they say I'm maliciously slandering the leadership and the country.
Yeah, which you are doing. We can verify the facts, naturally, because you are one of the few who has ever published about the inner circle of the Communist Party. But it reads like a terrifying warning for example, I had to think about business companies here in Europe, like BMW or Volkswagen, or here in the Netherlands, ASML and Philips, whose aim it is to get a foothold in China and make a lot of money there. Would you advise them to continue?
I really do. I mean, one of the things I think people really need to look at, I mean, China has a tremendous rise in the last 30 years. I mean, we wouldn't have this conversation today if China hasn't had that rise. I mean, there is a consideration now to look at is maybe China has peaked. A lot of people assume this rise will continue and then it's going to replace America as the leading economic power of the world. I personally don't believe so. I believe there is a possibility China has peaked. It's going to be downhill from here.
Is the reason why you are saying also that, for example, we see this huge real estate company, Evergrande, in default now, and it's about 300 billion?
No, well, it depends. It's because a lot of debt is not on the books. So it's somewhere between 400 to 500 billion.
Way more than the official figures tell us now.
The official number is about 400.
Yeah. So you are basically warning companies, watch out what you are doing in China, because this could be over the hill, this economy.
Mostly because politics today in China, politics dominates everything. You look at, because of some policy they come out, about 2 trillion market cap was wiped out from Chinese technology company. That's a tutoring industry which has a market value of about 2% of the China's GDP. 30 million people in it was wiped out overnight. Politics dominates now today, which hasn't, to the extent it hasn't happened since Mao, 40 years ago.
Your wife disappeared. She's not, by far, not the only one. The multi-billionaire Jack Ma of the internet company Alibaba, he disappeared. Lately, we heard the story about the tennis player Peng Shuai, who disappeared and then suddenly came back again. Is it state policy that if somebody disagrees with the party line, okay, we'll just pick him up from the street and throw him in prison?
It's their common response. When they see a situation they don't know how to deal with, they say, well, let's shut it down and shut it up. And we will figure out how to deal with it later on. So the typical response is, let's shut it up and shut it down. And when you do shut it up and shut it down, very often it's a disappearing person.
Yeah. How rich were you and your wife at the time when you were still investing and doing business in China?
We were talking billions.
Billions?
Yes.
What happened to the money?
We'll see how much should get to. I mean, I left China a few years ago. I don't know how much. We'll see how much you get to hold on to in today's China.
Did you take your money out in time? Are you a rich man now?
I am comfortable.
So the answer is yes. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm asking because just a couple of days ago, I think, your wife and you were also art collectors. And we saw this painting that you bought by a very famous Chinese painter, Zheng Fangxi, The Prayer. At the time, your wife and you bought it for $5 million or euro, I don't know exactly, and now it's on the market again, right?
I mean, she's probably one of the two biggest sponsors of their artists. So she has tens of.
But is your wife selling this painting, or has the state confiscated it?
You wouldn't know, right? I mean, you wouldn't know. It just today, today she's a captive of the state. So I'm not sure how much freedom she has in terms of dealing with her own asset, or even if you can call it her own asset.
Do you think your ex-wife Whitney will ever be released, or can lead a normal life in China or outside the country?
I think it's hard to envision she will ever be let out of the country. How much freedom she will have within China, it's questionable.
Yeah. What about you? I don't know if you want to go back, but what would happen if you would go back?
I don't think I can go back. I mean, not just China. I mean, I don't think I can go back even to Hong Kong. I think if I go touch ground there, very likely I will be disappeared too.
Yeah. Are businesses in Europe interested in your story about what you know about the president and the elite of the Communist Party?
I think it's more, yes, a lot of people have a lot of interest and strong interest. I mean, a lot of people say it's having an impact on policies. But the more interesting is people, not just about these personalities, it is about how does the system operate at the highest level in politics, and how does the system operate at the highest level in business, and how the two systems interact, business and politics in China, how does it interact with each other?
And the word that you would use for that is like a mafia organization?
I would say CCP is like a mafia organization.
Thank you very much for coming to the Netherlands, especially for Buitenhof. And it's a great read, Red Roulette by Desmond Shum. Bedankt voor het kijken. Vond je dit een goed gesprek? Vergeet dan niet te abonneren. Een like of een reactie achterlaten kan natuurlijk ook. Of bekijk een van de andere interviews op dit kanaal.